Thank you for taking the time to follow today's story. We are about to step into a dramatic, intense tale where friendship, loyalty, and mystery intertwine in an unpredictable situation. Let's begin. The scene at the Grandview funeral home was solemn and filled with sorrow. Friends, colleagues, and police officers stood around, all present to bid farewell to Sheriff Robert Emerson, a man who had dedicated his career to the community. The funeral was conducted with formal rites, surrounded by wreaths, prayers, and the sorrow of loved ones and friends. However, amid the quiet and heavy atmosphere of the funeral, a sudden sound broke through the desperate barking of a German shepherd named Max, the loyal companion of Sheriff Emerson. The dog barked incessantly, as if trying to express its immense pain and worry. Max's barks disrupted the solemn atmosphere, causing everyone to stop surprised and confused. No one understood why the dog was reacting so intensely. Detective Oliver Gray, Emerson's longtime friend and partner, stood next to the coffin, feeling an unusual unease in his heart. As an experienced detective, he couldn't help but notice the small details. Max wasn't just barking like a grieving dog, but it seemed like the dog was reacting to something deeper. Gray's feelings became clearer as he considered that Emerson's death might not be as simple as it seemed. Oliver Gray began to suspect that something was wrong with the death of his dear friend. As a detective, Gray had been involved in countless investigations, but this time his instincts couldn't be wrong. Emerson's death could be part of a conspiracy, and Max might be trying to warn everyone about something they hadn't noticed. Our story begins here when Detective Oliver Gray decides to investigate deeper into Emerson's death. Was this truly an accident, or was there someone behind it hiding a terrible secret? Max, with his loyalty and resilience, would be the key to uncovering crucial clues in this investigation. First, let's meet Detective Oliver Gray, a man seasoned in the field of investigation. As an outstanding detective, Oliver is not only skilled in his work, but also devoted to justice. Although he is a serious and reserved person deep in his heart, he is a loyal friend, always ready to help others. His relationship with Sheriff Robert Emerson began in their youth when they grew up together and fought for justice. After Oliver's wife passed away in an accident, Emerson was the one who helped him through the pain of loss and loneliness. Therefore, Emerson's sudden death made Oliver feel as if he lost a part of himself, and he was determined to investigate the matter thoroughly. Next, we have Sheriff Robert Emerson, a man of integrity and strictness who always placed work and the community first. He was respected and loved by everyone for his dedication to security. However, after he was assassinated, secrets from Emerson's past began to surface, causing everyone to reflect on his life. Unknown aspects of Sheriff Emerson's life are waiting to be uncovered, and Detective Oliver Gray will be the one to seek the answers. An essential character in the story is Max, Sheriff Emerson's loyal German shepherd. Max was not only a companion on patrols, but also a trained police dog assisting in investigations. The dog had a special bond with Emerson, a remarkable friendship that no one could fully understand. Throughout the story, Max becomes an important witness, reacting strangely to the death of his owner. We can't forget Sarah Emerson, the wife of Sheriff Robert Emerson. Sarah is a strong, intelligent, and resilient woman. She was always supportive of her husband in both his work and life. Although the immense loss caused her great pain, she will play a crucial role in helping Detective Oliver Gray uncover the secrets surrounding her husband's death. Finally, we have Deputy Sheriff James Parker, who is an ambitious character. However, he was not well liked by his colleagues due to his selfishness and signs of corruption in the past. Parker always wanted to rise higher in his career, but his shady actions could be a key factor in this investigation. Could Parker be part of the conspiracy? Now we have an overview of the main characters in the story. Not only do they have complex relationships with one another, but they also hold important secrets, making the story engaging and full of tension. To verify Parker's connection to Emerson's death, Oliver decided to examine the lost documents in Emerson's office. One of the important papers he found was a series of documents related to suspicious transactions between town officials and criminal organizations. These documents pointed to a corruption network with Parker seemingly involved. This strengthened Oliver's suspicions. After a thorough investigation, Oliver discovered that Emerson throughout his career had begun to uncover a major corruption network within the community, and he had planned to expose those behind it. The documents Oliver found indicated that Parker and several other town officials were involved in these illegal activities, and they were willing to do anything to protect their interests. Particularly, Oliver also found several calls and emails on Emerson's phone, indicating that he had started investigating some suspicious financial transactions related to Parker and other senior officials. These individuals may have felt threatened by Emerson's intent to expose them, and thus they decided to eliminate him mercilessly. With all the clues he had gathered, Oliver was determined not to let this betrayal remain hidden. He would continue his investigation until the truth was revealed, even if it meant facing danger. The only thing Oliver could do now was to dig deeper into the dark secrets of those behind Emerson's death. Oliver's suspicions led him to a horrific truth. Emerson's closest friends could be the ones behind the assassination. However, this was only the beginning of the investigation. No one knew what terrible things would be uncovered in the search for justice. Oliver Gray would not stop until every truth was made clear. The conflict between Oliver Gray and Deputy Sheriff James Parker reached its peak after the dark secrets began to surface. Parker's connection to a large drug cartel had turned all of Oliver's suspicions into reality. During the investigation into Sheriff Emerson's death, Oliver discovered that Parker not only had personal motives to harm Emerson, but was also closely tied to a dangerous criminal organization. Parker had concealed the shady dealings and Emerson's investigations into the criminal cartel. When Emerson began uncovering the illegal activities this cartel was conducting in the community, Parker realized that being exposed was inevitable to protect himself and maintain his power within the police force. Parker decided to eliminate Emerson. The truth about Sheriff Emerson's death was a power play and betrayal that Parker had planned for a long time. On a dark evening, Oliver realized he could no longer ignore this danger. Not only were there criminals involved, but people within the very agency he had once trusted. Emerson's investigations had unintentionally exposed the connection between Parker and the criminals in the cartel, and now Parker was behind the assassination of Oliver's best friend. To protect innocent lives and stop Parker's schemes. Oliver knew he had to act quickly. Oliver's struggle was not just a physical battle, but also a battle within himself. As a detective, he was accustomed to tense situations, but this time it was a fight not only against crime, but against relationships, secrets, and betrayal. Oliver could not understand that his closest friend, the colleague who had been with him through many hardships in his career, could be the traitor behind all the evil actions. As things became more complicated, a mysterious figure suddenly appeared, adding more tension to the investigation. A man named Thomas Fisher introduced himself as Emerson's old friend. But contrary to his sincere words, Fisher's appearance made Oliver feel something was off. Instead of visiting as a grieving friend, Fisher quietly checked on Max Emerson's loyal dog and Emerson's condition, who was not yet fully dead, although everyone thought he had passed away. Fisher's presence raised Oliver's suspicions. If he had been Emerson's old friend, Fisher could have visited and expressed condolences more sincerely, but his actions seemed very strange. Fisher began to get involved in monitoring Max, one of the only witnesses who could provide crucial clues about Emerson's death. In reality, Fisher wasn't just curious about Max's condition, but was watching and assessing if anyone else could stand up against Parker's conspiracy, and the criminal cartel Parker was linked to. Not stopping there, Fisher's connection to the criminal cartel gradually came to light as Oliver began investigating his past. It turned out that Fisher was not just an old friend, but an important member of an international criminal organization involved in drugs and other illegal activities. Like Parker, Fisher had exploited the situation to conceal this connection, and he might have been complicit in Emerson's murder. This revelation deepened Oliver's heartache from the betrayal, not only by Parker but also by people he had once trusted. Oliver now faced an unbearable truth. Part of the very police force he had dedicated his life to was complicit in crime. This situation not only posed a threat to the lives of those around him, but also shook Oliver's belief in justice. However, he knew that he couldn't step back. If he wanted to stop Parker and the traitors, he would have to fight with all his strength, despite all the difficulties and dangers ahead. Under immense pressure from both the criminals and his colleagues in the force, Oliver was determined to go to the end and find solid evidence that would bring Parker and Fisher to light. These battles in the dark wouldn't be easy, but Oliver knew that there was no other choice. Justice had to be served, and he was the only one who could carry out this task. But could Oliver complete the investigation without being threatened by the evil forces, and could Parker and Fisher be exposed before they had the chance to act again? With his relationships shattered and the intense conflicts with those he had once trusted, Oliver Gray could not stop thinking about what would happen next. But one thing was certain. This battle had only just begun. Oliver's investigation was far from easy. After a series of tense confrontations and challenges, both physical and mental, the pieces of the case gradually began to fit together. Oliver and Max, with their persistence and intelligence, discovered a USB drive containing concrete evidence of the illegal transactions that Parker and his gang had been involved in over the years. This USB drive was the key that helped Oliver unlock the door to the truth. From important documents found in Sheriff Emerson's safe, they discovered that the criminal network Parker was linked to not only had ties to international crime organizations, but also had close connections with high-ranking political figures. This was a deeply corrupt and complex network with powerful officials running illegal activities to profit from illicit transactions, particularly in drugs and money laundering. The documents on the USB provided Oliver and his team with everything they needed to arrest Parker and his accomplices. Clear and irrefutable evidence was provided, and Parker could not escape the law. Finally, his associates were exposed and brought to justice. Although these criminals were arrested and faced the punishment they deserved, the pain remained. The entire community, especially Sheriff Emerson's close friends, could not believe that someone like him could become the target of such a ruthless conspiracy. Emerson, a man of integrity, dedication, and love for justice, had become the victim of the very people he had fought for. His death was not only a loss to his family and friends, but also a huge shock to the entire community. Amidst all these shocking events, there was a silent hero who could not be overlooked. That was Max, Sheriff Emerson's loyal German shepherd. Throughout the investigation, Max had been more than just a companion. He had been a crucial assistant in helping Oliver uncover important clues. Max was the first to notice the abnormality in Emerson's death, and it was this dog who helped crack the case. With sharp instincts and absolute loyalty, Max never stopped searching for evidence from warning barks to decisive actions when necessary. When a gang of criminals ambushed Oliver, it was Max who saved him thanks to his quick thinking and decisiveness. The dog not only saved his best friend's life, but also helped Oliver find the USB drive containing full evidence of Parker's criminal schemes. Max's sacrifice and courage could never be measured in words. This dog demonstrated a remarkable quality: loyalty and bravery. Max became a symbol of resilience and integrity in the fight against crime, a true friend to both Emerson and Oliver. For his enormous contribution to solving the case, Max was recognized as a hero by both the community and the authorities. A formal ceremony was held to honor the dog, where everyone in the community applauded his bravery and sacrifice. The ceremony was not only a tribute to the dog, but also a reminder of the special bond between humans and animals, a relationship that cannot be broken in times of hardship. The case of Sheriff Emerson's death was finally solved, and those behind it had to pay for their crimes. Although Oliver and Max succeeded in bringing the criminals to light, the price they paid was steep. Emerson's death was a bitter reminder of the cruelty of the criminal world and the betrayal that could appear anywhere, even in relationships that seemed the strongest. Max, through his sacrifice and courage, proved that sometimes the true heroes are not the ones with extraordinary strength, but those who stand up for what is right, even if it's just a dog. Although he could never replace his best friend Oliver, knew that he would never be alone in this journey, for he still had Max, the most loyal friend. Everything had ended, but the story of friendship, loyalty, and justice would continue to be told forever. The sacrifice of Emerson. Max and those like Oliver would never be forgotten, and their story would live on in the hearts of those who always fight for truth and justice.